the Just In Case podcast with your hosts, Mike and Mike, driven by passion, defined by quality.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning into the Just In Case podcast, brought to you by JSC Appliance Care. I am Mike,
and
with
this
your
is Mike,
other host, the other Mike. So today we have a pretty cool show. This is a company called Refrigeration Technologies. We are joined by two representatives of theirs. And luckily, we have been able to link up and kind of make this podcast happen. We've been in communication for the past couple of months trying to get this scheduled. So we are thrilled to have Becca and Ashley. Becca is the Director of Marketing, and Ashley is the Director of Education and Brand Management. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. We appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. Little meeting of the minds, if you will.
Yeah. So basically, you know, if you guys want to kind of talk about a little bit of what your role is within Refrigeration Technologies, we are big advocates of the Viper products.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've given what your official title is, but I would love for you guys to kind of chime in and give a little more in-depth into that if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to go first?
I'll go first. So I have kind of an all-encompassing role in that I do a little bit of everything. So I do a lot of education for contractors and internal stakeholders. I do some marketing. I kind of act as like an internal brand manager for the company as well. I run my own social account called HVAC Ash. And then I'm also responsible for some sales in the Arizona market.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then I'm kind of just all things marketing. So I manage all of the Viper social media channels, creating all the content for that, all of our partnerships, whether that's media partnerships or with influencers. I do email program, blog, just kind of like all the different ways to get our brand out there and really spread our brand awareness and recognition.
That's awesome. So how long have you guys been with the company?
I am approaching 2 years. So May will be 2 years, which that sounds crazy to say.
Right around the corner.
And then
it flew by.
And then I've been here for a year and a half. So I joined in October of 2023. So it's been a blast. It's flown by.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know we had a couple of conversations off camera previously, and I know you guys are located on the West Coast. I know we spoke a little bit about you guys kind of do trade shows and stuff like that. So I know basically your target market's like the HVAC industry. I know we're kind of like a niche part of that. You know, a lot of people get us confused in terms of like what our roles are in appliance repair, but we do a lot of refrigeration.
Yep.
We do a lot of Freon work and we braze, and, you know, we do all that type of stuff that kind of crosses over into the HVAC world, which is why I think it's cool that we're able to kind of link up and have this conversation, because I don't know how many people are really kind of treading in these waters, if you will.
They
in
don't
our
look
industry.
at it that way.
Yeah, like it's not something common to see, you know, like Refrigeration Technologies or Viper products being discussed by appliance guys on a podcast or anything like that. But it is definitely a product that we rely heavy on.
Yes.
So, you know, one of the things I want to bring up is we use the coil cleaner, the condenser coil cleaner. I would say that's probably our number one product that we use from you guys. And it's just fantastic. It is not harsh on the nose, which a lot of these other brands are kind of a little rough on the nose. And, you know, I think that its capability to clean and the foaming aspect of it is so beyond what I could even get into in terms
the
of
amount of condensers that have so much grease in it, you can't just get off. So when you spray that stuff on there, it like eats it away.
Yeah, so a lot of the times we're doing a lot of residential work, right? And oftentimes it's residential, but they have a private chef and they're cooking a lot. And the grease gets sucked into these condenser coils, and people don't realize how important it is to maintain them and clean them, appropriately. So that's when we lean on that product to obviously after we dust it off clean, usually we use a brush. We highly advise against using a vacuum because it can damage the fins.
Don't want to damage the fins.
We spray this on there and we do before and after pictures quite frequently. And I mean, these things are literally glistening after using the product. So well done on that.
Well, thanks. That's a great recommendation.
I mean, I've used them on hoods, the filters that are real greasy.
Yeah,
I'll spray them on the filters and it actually cleans all the grease off of it.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
it works pretty good on different things.
There's definitely less expensive products. I think the price point's a little high for it, but you're getting a really good
quality
product. Yeah. So, like I said, bravo on that. Another thing that we like to touch on, and I would love for you guys to kind of chime in a little bit on how they came up with this. Obviously, in the industry for years, everyone was always used to kind of using like Dawn dish soap and water for leak testing. But we came across Big Blue, and we use both the spray and the brush.
Yep.
And it is really, it works so well. It is, and they say it's a micro leak detector, and I really do agree with that.
It is.
We've found some really hard to find leaks that other services couldn't even find, and it's all because we use that product.
Big Blue.
So I know we spoke about, I guess, the founder being, I think you said he had a chemist background or something like that. If you guys want to kind of chime in about that a little bit and speak on that, that'd be awesome.
Absolutely. I think our story is why we're here. How we started is why we're a company today. John was a chemist, like you mentioned, and at some point he did lose his job. And so back in the day, you went to the newspaper to look for job listings, and the first job listing that he found was for an AC technician. And so he got the job, he became a tech, and as he's in the field, he's using all these other products, and he's thinking to himself, like, this is hurting my skin, it's ruining the equipment, and honestly, I could create a better product. So he actually kind of starts making stuff in his kitchen with his wife's help, and he formulates Big Blue. He takes it into the field. He starts utilizing it, and his coworkers basically are like, wow, that is so much better than what we're currently using. Can we buy it? And that is how we started. So the OG Big Blue, that's how it was formed. And something that I also like to kind of bring up is that we're the only company that says how small the leak we can find. So we can detect a 0.65 ounce per year leak. Really? So we're talking pinpoints, like very, very microscopic. You won't find data for other micro leak detectors on how low they can go as far as a leak, because they're not testing it, because they're not truly micro leak detectors. So I think that's pretty unique for us.
Yeah, no, that's actually very interesting to know.
Yeah, it's impressive.
I would have never even guessed that you guys kind of fine-tuned it down to those numbers. Like I said, we were for the longest time, and I think everyone in this industry just uses Dawn dish soap and water.
Yeah.
And they don't, I don't even know if they know that Big Blue exists. So, hopefully they can hear about this and try it out. There's a couple of people
just say no to dish soap.
Yeah, exactly.
We always tell people that, like, dish soap is meant for your dishes, but it actually contains a lot of salt, and that can cause corrosion if you don't rinse it off correctly. So you want to use things that were specifically formulated by a company that wants to make sure that you're taking care of the equipment and making sure it's going to last as long as possible.
Yeah, that's good to know, because it's such a bigger picture than just detecting the leak. I mean, if you're using something like Dawn dish soap and it's corrosive and you're using it on copper,
it's not good.
It's going to be a problem in the future. So that's a very good point to bring up. And I feel like a lot of people don't even realize the amount of corrosive things that are in something as simple as dish soap.
No.
So that's awesome. I love to hear that. I like the story. I mean, the story's great. That being said, another big product that we love and advocate for is the wet rag heat shield. me and Mike always talk about we don't understand how it withstands the amount of heat that we put on this thing.
It doesn't go on fire. It lasts forever.
My gut tells me that it's kind of like burning off the water first before the actual material. I don't know if you guys have any insight as to exactly how that works, but how do we get so much life out of that?
So I do have one. I do have one with me that I did want to kind of show you. So this is one that we've tested, and we held a flame on it from a brazing torch, directly on it for over 2 minutes, and it burned through just a tiny bit. And then this was used in the field actually, and so this has been used so many times, and you can see like it just barely has like a little bit of wear on it. And it's because of the double line fabric that we use. We use non-flammable threads on the sides of it. So there's some special stuff that happens inside as well.
It's proprietary.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little bit of Viper magic.
Yeah, that's awesome. We do a lot of rebuilds on smaller under counter units. We tend to bring them back to our shop quite frequently. Sometimes we do them in the field. But what we love about it is you can get into tight spaces, and that's going to basically protect wire harnesses and things that are that can be more compromised and have bigger issues if we throw the torch on it.
Especially nowadays, a lot of these units are plastic, so it melts very easily. So
and R600, I mean, now we're using, we're getting involved in some flammable types of gases, so it's always nice to have something with a little moisture there. I mean, I've even taken it, and I don't know if you should or shouldn't do this, but I put it on the copper afterwards just to kind of cool it off a little bit because it's wet. So a big, thing that we used to do in our industry is take like a wet paper towel and we would wrap it around the copper, and you kind of don't have to do that anymore with the wet rag. So
no, that's what we used to use so the heat wouldn't transfer. And then once we found this out, this is all we use now. Yeah. It works great.
And what's nice too is it has a design basically where there's a slit in it, so you can kind of wrap it around a copper tubing. And it makes it so much easier to use. I mean, we've used Kevlar sheets before. They just don't hold up the same. The wet rag is definitely a lot better. I know there's another.
Yeah, I was going to say.
A couple of different other options. If you guys want to go over that, I know there's like a paste or a gel. I'm not too familiar with them, but please feel free to shine some light on those products.
Yeah. So we've got our putty.
Yeah. So Ashley, if Ashley wants to talk about this, I can.
Absolutely. So we've got our heat shield putty. So we don't really believe in pastes. Pastes aren't really effective products. So this is almost like the consistency of a usable, and it has a really cool indicator dye. So it'll actually start out blue, and then once it's kind of taken all the heat that it's able to absorb, it'll actually turn white, and that's how you know that piece is like no longer good and you want to throw that piece away. But you can continue to keep using it. You can just put it back in the jar once you've done your soldering and brazing, and we say about 40 times. Just kind of depends on temperature and the amount of heat that you're putting on it. But can take it. This is, if you're going to use a product, honestly, the putty is the best by far, just because this is actual heat absorption, whereas the heat shield is more heat transfer. So your shield is kind of protecting your surrounding areas, and yes, it does absorb that heat, but the actual putty is going to protect anything in line that you have. So you'd wrap it around TXV, filter dryer, any piece of copper, and it's actually going to absorb all of that heat that you're using when you're brazing or soldering.
Wow, I didn't even realize that it was reusable. So that's definitely something we'd like to try.
Yeah, and that is actually made from the same materials off of the space shuttles. So that's a little fun fact for you. It's pretty cool.
It seems cool. What's the price point on that? Is there like a general price point?
So we don't typically talk about pricing just because it's going to depend on where you're buying it from and what kind of a account you have with them. So we try to not make anyone upset, and we don't really talk about it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. I'll be sure to kind of look into it just for our own knowledge of that. Do you guys is there a gel that you offer or no?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Okay.
there is a heat blocking gel as well. And it's a spray, it comes in a spray bottle. And I mean, this is for lower temperature, really. You're just, it's kind of just like a nice little barrier you can spray on, use it on wood, any type of, anywhere. It's just like that extra step of protection. But that's going to be really like for your lower level heat, when you're doing really a lot of brazing and soldering, you're going to want to stick to like your putty and your heat shield.
Can you put
Yeah.
can you put it on metal?
You can. It's again low temp. It's more for like surrounding areas.
Right.
So like if you're in a tight cabinet and you have maybe some drywall or some wood, you could spray the gel onto those areas to keep it from burning. But we played around with it on plastic. It will protect plastic. It protect metal. It's just again not for high temp, like Becca said.
So is that more of a reflection type of tool? It's not absorbing the heat; it's kind of deflecting it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess you could say that. I mean, it does absorb heat. Like, so we played around on the tub of putty that she just had. We sprayed it on top of the tub and then took a like a MAP gas torch to it, and it won't melt wherever it is on the plastic. It won't melt right there, but it'll melt around it. It's just not going to hold out for a long period of time.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. I mean, like I said, we do a lot of under counters, and sometimes it's a little tight. And it's not that I would use that as like a more of a abundance of precaution type of scenario.
Exactly.
Yeah, just to kind of give a little extra layer of protection to wherever we're brazing around. Yeah. Because a lot of the time, stainless steel will discolor if you hit it with a torch for like, 2 seconds. It'll discolor. And I think that's a good product that we can use for something like that. How about the Nylog? We have it. We don't use it frequently. If we ever do use it, we use it on basically like access valves. When we twist a cap on, we'll use a little drop of that on there. If you guys want to kind of discuss that product a little bit, that would be great too.
Absolutely. So Nylog, the most polarizing product that we probably have, it gets a lot of interest. It is essentially compressor oil that we make more viscous. So it's going to be a really sticky, slimy, gooey type of product. But it is meant for use with any type of O-ring or gasket. It'll keep those really hydrated. It will help seal threaded connections. And then you can also put it on the face of a flare, since oftentimes they're not uniform or there are like micro imperfections in the copper. The Nylog actually kind of fills those little holes. And because it is literally made from compressor oil, it's not going to contaminate the system. It never hardens and it never dries. So it's not glue, which is one of the common things that we get. And it's, again, not going to contaminate the system because that product is literally already flowing through your system. You would never be able to identify the difference between the two if some got into your system.
It sounds kind of similar to lock prep.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
It does. It sounds like it's just a higher viscosity of that, basically.
I'm not super familiar with lock prep, but I've never seen another product like ours. All of the other sealants out there dry, or they have a shelf life, which means that they harden. So this does not ever, this never changes viscosity. It will never get hard. It will never dry.
Yeah,
lock prep's a year, I think, right?
Yeah, lock prep does have a shelf life, so that's obviously the biggest difference between the two.
And we're talking about our Nylog Blue in this, for the refrigeration systems and things like that. We also make a Nylog White, which is more of like a pipe dope.
Really?
But what Ashley was saying about, that Nylog Blue doesn't harden or dry out. We had one of our sales guys find a sample of it that had been in his garage at like his cabin. It was from like the 90s.
Really?
And we cracked that thing open and poured some and, squeezed some of it out, and it still was perfectly normal. Like hadn't changed. Yeah. So
there's red, white, and there's blue, right? What's the difference between the red and the blue?
So your blue is going to be compatible with any type of system, including your new A2Ls. And your red is going to be is only for your older systems. So your mineral oil based systems from previous. So we always tell people like, buy the blue. The blue is going to do everything for you.
Right.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, we have that in our shop. Like I said, I use it on sometimes on valve caps and stuff like that. So yeah, that is awesome.
You guys have any new products that are going to be coming out soon?
Do we have a little teaser?
Yeah.
Yeah. So not like new chemicals, but we are releasing a sprayer attachment for our aerosol coil cleaner.
Really?
So the attachment just clips right onto the top of the aerosol can, and it can offer just continuous spray. As Ashley likes to say, continuous spray.
It never ends.
And that all came from just talking to techs in the field, and them kind of asking for a way that they're like, we use like the whole can of this, and by the time you're done, your finger is like practically like cramped up. Yeah. And then to that can, we're also changing a little bit of the can itself. And so currently the can has to spray directly up, like it has to be upright.
Yes.
And we're changing that so that it can spray any direction, 360 degrees.
That's great for us. It is. You know how many times I'm using it and I turn it sideways to get in there and it stops.
It's the little things that get us excited in the appliance industry.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well,
I'm happy that's
a pretty big thing.
It is.
I feel like we've had several requests for it, and that's how it was born. From a contractor who was like, "Hey, this is really rough. I'm in these tight spots."
Yeah.
Actually, kind of both of those, the product improvement and the sprayer, were kind of born from contractor feedback. So we're really connected to our market, and we try to listen to you guys when there's a need for something.
Yeah, that's good. That is good. I couldn't tell you how many times we are working basically on the floor. The condenser is sitting on the floor, and you have to shake the can and kind of spray real quick and shake the can and spray it. It's not easy to get in there. So that's
I'm happy that's going to be a good change.
That's just it's going to be in a whole new can basically. Is that what that means?
We're just changing kind of the internal parts of the can. Yeah. So the can itself will be the same.
Okay. Will it say on the can that it does that now? Like
differentiate?
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's good.
There was something I recently saw that you guys offer. It's like I don't know if it's an epoxy. That might not be the word I'm looking for. But it's a coating for the condenser fins.
Oh yeah, our coil coating.
Yeah.
Yep. It is epoxy. Yeah.
It is epoxy. Okay.
It's an epoxy spray. Yeah. So for our coastal regions or anywhere where, we have a lot of like salt in the air or heavily acidic conditions, we do offer the permanent epoxy coil spray. And it's a kind of a one and done. It doesn't have a color, so you won't really be able to tell, but you can literally epoxy anything. So if you wanted to do the outside of the unit, you could do that. If you wanted to do the coil, which is obviously the most common, you can do that as well.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Is it mainly used to kind of deflect contaminants? Is that what the point of that is?
Yeah, so I think the initial thought process was if you're in a coastal region, you've got a lot of salt in your air, and that salt is then very corrosive, like how we talked about earlier with Dawn dish soap. Yep. So you want to protect those coils, especially with your aluminum, your micro channel. Those are going to be a lot more sensitive. So if you have constant salt or salt water sitting on that coil, it's going to damage the coil. It's going to cause imperfections, and then you're going to have leaks. So with the coil coating, it gives you an extra, basically, line of defense, if you will, to keep that salt from corroding the coil or the equipment.
Yeah. So
and a lot of I would say a lot of the coils come pre-dipped now. So this is basically like, if you have a coil that's been damaged that you want to put some extra protection on it, you can use this. Or if your coil never was coated before, another common usage is if they're like, if you have a lot of animals in the area, it's really common for dogs to love condenser coils and they will pee on them. Really? So this will help protect them in those situations as well.
That's funny.
Yeah. So, as I previously mentioned, we have a very dense customer base in the Hamptons. We deal with high-end real estate and property management firms, and most of these homes have full outdoor kitchens.
Yeah.
I mean, from every appliance you could imagine, plus some. And obviously, condensers are a huge part of that, and they all sit right on the ocean.
Yeah, they're all
so I
rusted.
think that's a good product that I think
yeah.
we're going to try to roll out this season for a lot of our customers and offer that to them as a little added
protection.
layer of
Yeah.
protection. So that
Yeah.
is really good to hear that. I'm happy that something exists like that.
Yeah.
And like I said, for us, I'm actually going to let some of our property management companies know that we deal with that. Maybe they should be doing this to the HVAC coils, and that's something that they should be exploring with their HVAC guys.
Is that
as well.
a one-time thing done, or can you do that like once a year, or how does that work?
So it's we say it's permanent and it's a one time. Obviously, if you're living right on the ocean, though, that salt is going to be corrosive and it will eventually start to fade. So you can reapply it. In order to do that, though, and even for your initial application, you do need to clean the coil with a brightener in order to etch the coil so that the coil coating will stick to it. But then you need to be mindful not to use a brightener on the coating because it'll remove it again, right? So if you're going to reapply it, then yes, hit it with a corrosive.
Right, you got to
It's like
take it
a
off first.
Catch
to-
22.
Yeah, but I mean, that's actually, I feel like that's how it should be done. If anything, anyway, you should, if you're going to take it off, you might as well clean it right, take it
do a
off
fresh
right, and then
coating,
do
yeah.
a fresh coat. That's kind
Yeah.
of my
Nothing ever sticks good when you double layer it.
that's kind of my theory on that.
Yeah, we're always just cautious because we, as a safe chemical company, we only sell 2 corrosive products. We don't really push them. There's only a couple of instances in which we talk about using a brightener because we don't believe that they're necessary for regular maintenance. Again, because it does damage the coil and it does cause leaks in the future. So
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
I know we also talked about this. We had a call this week, and I basically kind of mentioned that I wish there was a little more in our space. Do you guys ever get inquiries from people who are doing appliance repair? I mean, is that something you're seeing frequently? I know there's a guy on TikTok that we follow, and he is a big advocate of your product.
Yeah.
And I can't remember his name. I'm forgetting it off the tip of my tongue. See if you can look it up.
Yeah, I'm
while
gonna
we're
look
doing
him
it.
up while you're talking. Let's
But
see.
I mean, I feel like I don't see it enough. Is that something like futuristically you guys are going to be pushing out?
We're always looking, for new markets and, new ways for us to get safe chemicals and safe products into the hands of people. We did recently, one of our followers from social media works in apartment maintenance. And he was really pushing because he saw like the value of Viper products. And so he went to a lot of, where he was buying from and basically was like, hey, this is what I want. It is the best. So we were able to work with that distributor to get product, and he got cases and cases of it. And then he told me recently at the trade show that we were just at that he started to drop cans off to other people he knows in apartment maintenance, and they all love it too. So
That's great.
that word of mouth and the power of social media is really exciting to get our products out there.
Oh, definitely. I mean, like I said, I plan on kind of speaking to some of our reps in the industry and let them know about you guys and put you guys in contact. And I hope you can make a great connection. We're just, like I said in the beginning of the podcast, we're advocates of the product. We use it frequently. And it's just, I'm happy we were able to get you guys on the show to kind of discuss a little bit more in detail of what you have to offer. So I appreciate that. And thank you so much, guys, for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, I can't find him right now, but
we'll
he loves
reach out
using
to
your
you
product
at some point. We'll
all the
let you
time.
know, but he's a big advocate of the product. He does.
I wonder if
push it
it's
a lot.
Pat.
Yeah, I don't know.
Does he do?
Is it Commercial Kitchen Chronicles?
No,
Is it Pat?
No.
Okay.
He does a lot of appliance repair.
Yeah, he's heavy in appliances.
But he uses your product on everything. He does a lot of rebuilds.
Once I
so-
find it, I'll get it over to you guys just to see if you know who he is. But
Yeah.
We should send him something.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks, Dan.
Well, guys, thank you so much for
Yeah,
coming on. We
appreciate
really
it.
do appreciate taking the time. We're happy we were able to link up and have a conversation on the product. And we look forward to speaking to you guys in the future. So thanks again. Thanks so
Yes,
much.
thank you guys.
Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Thank you. It's been fun.
We'll talk soon. Thanks.
All right.
Thank you for watching the Just In Case podcast. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button.